The command for importing is R. Okay, so read, right? Remember, these are all done in nodes. So R is for read. If you go hit tab anywhere down here, right? Down here, hit tab, you get a form where you can type in, say, read. If you know what you're looking for, and just pick that. Same thing. Okay. So I'm going to choose my blue energy render, open. So I have this node now, see the read node. To see what I have to connect this to my viewer, this node. So I can click the arrow and connect it, right? Or if you remember, you see the number here, right? If that's not connected, I can pick any node and hit 1. It connects to this viewer, all right? So now I can see what's happening. Okay. And before you do anything else, always set your project properly, right? So you want the settings to be correct. So again, down here in the node graph, press S, and then it brings up your project settings. I want to make sure my format is HD 720. So look for that here. There, HD 720 right there. Okay, so that's all well and good. If you have a different frame rate, you change that as well. Okay, so if I hit play, I can see that my animation is playing. So this is the energy we get, the raw render out of Maya. Okay, so we want to fix this up a little bit, make it look nicer. Okay, so you do that by adding nodes. Okay, so in between the read and the viewer, we're going to add a bunch of nodes. Okay, and first thing I want to add is the um, motion blur. Okay, the motion blur node. So something to remember, if I'm not selecting anything and I create a node, let's say I hit tab and I say motion, and there's motion blur, okay, it's a node. Okay, it's just freely floating. But if I have a node selected and I do the same thing, motion blur, it already connects it. Okay, so it's in the pipe, so to speak. See, it's connected already. I could have just connected it myself, but just easier this way. Right. So what motion blur does is it will look at pixels frame by frame and blur between them. Okay. So you can do this in Maya, but it takes forever. Okay. So this is the more time efficient way of doing it. However, it's not quite as nice as pure, 3D motion blur, but for a lot of stuff, it works. Okay. Uh, Shutter time, practically speaking, is about how long the blur is, and shutter samples is just the quality of the blur. So typically, I'll set up to 6, and this might be like 1 or 2, right? So you'll see it's kind of softened already. You can go overboard, like if I say like 10, it might be too much. So that will be, that depends on what you're working on, right? So yeah, it might be a bit much. So something like 2 or 3. If you want to disable a node, meaning turn it off, select it and press D, right? So I'm disabling and then enabling the mode. Okay. So it's a toggle. That. Okay. And from there, we want to add, let's say, a grade, right? Or color correct. So shortcut is G for a grade node or C for color correct node. Okay. Also, just know that if you want to disconnect something from the pipe, right, just grab it and shake it till it's disconnected. Okay. Let's try a grade node. Let's see what happens. So double click. I'm working on my grade, and I can up my gain, which is just essentially the brightness. Okay. And then I'm going to add a glow right down here. Then you get something like that. Okay. So we can work with this, right? We can adjust the tolerance. Not only the brighter parts are the ones actually glowing. You can set that. You can set the actual brightness of the glow and the size, right? Okay. So again, if you want to disable D, right? If you want to disconnect, just grab and shake. To connect it, just bring it within the pipe and it connects, right? I could also do, let's say, grade before the glow. I'll connect this in and adjust my saturation. Maybe it's too blue, right? Or I want it bluer, right? So you can adjust here. So you can do that for your shadows, your midtones, your highlights, okay, or like a general overall color saturation control. Okay. And lastly, you can, if you need to, right, um, change the color here. So I can go for a hue shift, that after the glow. Let's go to a frame where you see a lot of the, there you go. And then with my hue shift selected, I can just um, adjust hue rotation. So I can go through the different colors, right? And if let's say I like green, but it looks blown out, this has its own saturation setting here, overall saturation. So I can bring that down. There you go. Okay. So all of a sudden it's a nice green. And again, deselecting, uh, disabling, I mean, just press D, right? So this way of working is very, very, useful. For example, I could add another hue shift down here, and I can shift this one to red, right? And where is my overall saturation, right? So I could do something like that. And then I can show this. Oh, is that okay? Is that what you're looking for? Or something like this, right? So you can easily jump between versions of something, or maybe back to the original, right? So there you go. Okay. So there's a bit more you can do here. Um, maybe a stronger motion blur, like 4. Yeah, higher samples. Okay, so it looks a bit smoother. Of course, the more nodes you put in, particularly motion blur, the slower it's going to get, right? So now I can take this and comp it in with the ground plane, and I can show you how to adjust the ground plane with AOVs. So I'm going to bring in the background. Okay, so if I want to see this, I press 1. Right, so this is my background now. Okay, pretty simple. And then now I want to break this apart into the two AOVs that we rendered. To that, I am going to use a node called Shuffle. Okay, so I press tab, type in shuffle, and what shuffle does is it does exactly that. It shuffles or it goes through the different available channels, letting you, giving you access to them. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so if I press control, you'll see diamonds come up between in the center of the lines. So that means I can now make breaks like that. Okay. So shuffle, I press 1 so I can see what the shuffle is showing me. Okay. So for this one, I can see my blue light. So I can see only the blue light. If I get another shuffle, right? Um, let's do this. And for this second one, it's going to show me just the dome, see, without the blue light. Okay, so now these guys are separate. Now um, I can access the individual AOVs, right, with the individual pieces, so to speak, of this image. So I'm gonna just arrange this, move it out there, give me some more space. There we go. Right, and I want control over, let's say this one is the blue light, just to make sure what it is. I can select it, go to the node, and I type it a label. So blue light, I can see what it is. This one as well, put node and just say dome light. There you go. So I can see right away which is which, right? And then I'm going to use a little trick. I'm going to use a merge node. So shortcut is M, okay? Think of a merge node as sort of like a blending mode in Photoshop. But it's where you combine one layer on top of another, right? So merge one is over, okay? And the way you do this is always A over B. Okay, so B is always the background. A is always what's on top. Okay. But what I want to use this for is to subtract. Okay. So in my merge node, I'm going to use minus. All right. So this is going to be A minus B. So this minus this. Okay. Is that. So essentially what I'm saying is this image, this complete image, minus the blue light is equal to this. Okay. And then I can do a plus. So merge again. This time, the merge will be a plus. So it's, remember, it's A over B, right? So this is plus, though, doesn't really matter. We'll do that. So now it comes back. As you can see, there is no difference between this. Okay? So why bother with this at all? You do this because now anything I put in the middle, right, in this path is going to affect what this looks like. So if I need the color to be something other than blue, I can put a color correct here, right? And I can adjust the gamma or pick a different color from the gamma, right? And I can adjust that or, you know, just overall brightness, maybe just a gain. Okay. right? So after this, you do the same thing, but this time for the shuffle dome light. Okay, so we go with merge, and this will be minus. Okay, connected that. See, that's correct. And then we'll do a plus. Merge again, set it to plus. Are you? There you are. Okay, so now it's back. And then here also, I can add stuff in between. Okay, so I can add, for example, a color correct here. Let's put a grade node, right? So I can adjust the gain, right, or color, right? Okay, so with that in hand, we can now go ahead and merge these two together. I'll make a new merge node. I'm gonna keep this as is. I'm not gonna use the other colors. So let's just delete these for now. Right? Remember, it's A over B. So this is going to be the B. It's called the pipe, right? So that's in the B pipe. This is in the A pipe. And there you go, right? Now, let's say I want to make it more dramatic or more realistic, uh, or just nicer looking, would say. I'm going to lower the overall light. That will be my dome light. I can lower the overall brightness of it, so my gain can just be brought all the way down, right? So there's still some light, but not much. Okay, and then I'm going to just add a grade node here. Delete this one for now. All right, and this is the control for the blue light. Okay, so at the beginning, there's hardly any, so I can start very low. Okay, and these um, curves at the end, these let you set keyframes. Okay, so I can set a key. I can go to a frame where, let's say, it's already hit somewhat of its brightest point. Let's say somewhere here, and I can bring this up. Okay, so I can have this actually turning on, so to speak. Now, if you were to do this inside of Maya, you'd have to animate the lights. Okay, and then you'd also have to render a sequence where you actually see the light getting brighter. But if you do it here, remember, all we did was render one background image, and you can edit it, okay, using AOVs. And that's really the strength of AOVs. Stuff that you can do in post, you do in post. Much easier, much faster. Okay, so now you have your will-o-wisp. And if I decide, I do want, I do want something red, right? I can get my hue shift again, or let's say red, something reddish. Okay, I can do my hue shift. Let's go with somewhere over here, and saturation, right? And then I can just change the color of uh, my light, my blue light. So what did I edit here? I edited the gain, right? I could maybe adjust something here, or let's try a hue shift here as well, right? Let's put that there and shift the light to match. Yeah. So as you can see, it's really quick, really easy. You can make edits like these. Right. So now we have our setup done. And if we're happy with it, we can go out now and render it. Stop that first. So to bring something in is read, right? And when you want to save something to disk, it's a write. So W, shortcut, oops, see, write node. And where did that go? It's connected here. You don't want it there. You want your write node at the bottom, okay? So you can have it right here, right before the viewer, okay? Spacebar, by the way, maximizes, toggles your view, okay? So if I put the write node here, what happens is it's going to write everything, okay? If, let's say you only need something specific, let's say you only need the background, right? You could put your write node somewhere here, okay? Or not, you don't even have to connect there, just connect it straight here. And it will write only this portion, okay? So if you want to write out this, not including the background, this would be here, right after hue shift, right before these two pipes, right, get merged, okay? But as of now, we want everything, so I want it down here, okay? And if I double click my write node, you can see here where it says file, you can specify, okay, where do you want to send it? I can, make a new folder. And let's say, uh, and now it's going to be red ball. Okay, red ball. Okay. And then I'm going to say red ball energy. Okay, and I'm going to put dot 1, 2, 3, 4 pound signs dot, and then I'm going to put in a an extension. So for class can be PNG or JPEG. Let's just try JPEG. Save. See, so it automatically says, okay, file type is JPEG. And quality, the one. And what else is here? That's pretty much it. In for now, right? Just leave this as is. I say render. It gives me this window, and I can specify range, okay, input, or say 1 to 100, and then just click OK, and it's gonna start rendering out those images. You could also render it out as a AVI, but it's better to render them out as JPEGs or single frames, and then just compile them and then, play it from there. And this now is what it's going to look like once you're done. So I rendered it as an image. I brought it into DaVinci Resolve. You could do it in Premiere, where you bring a sequence and then output it as a video file. So this is just an MP4, so it's really small, right? But good quality. Okay, so there you go.